It occurred to me recently that for most of my university life, my year has been split into 3 terms or semesters: autumn, spring and summer, or here at Oxford, what we call Michaelmas, Hilary and Trinity term. This phenomenon also continued into my work as a junior doctor last year, where we tended to have 3 4-month clinical rotations throughout the year, from the first Wednesday of August till the first day of August the following year. The reason to segment the academic or fiscal year, whichever one applies to you, is ultimately to enable smaller increments to allow more granularity in keeping track of productivity and keeping track of progress. I'd imagine it's also got a great deal to do with flexibility with scheduling courses, and probably also to do with cost. Spreading out the cost of studying across the year definitely makes it easier for students to manage financially. This structure of the calendar year doesn't just apply to academic institutions though, it also applies to corporations and companies who, for instance, are required to share quarterly earnings reports. We're now at week 0 of Trinity term here at Oxford, and it made me think splitting the year into 3 roughly 18-week segments lends really well to optimizing for ADHD. This observation is why I'm making this video. I really don't want to take this academic year split for granted as I move back into the monotony of working a full-time job. And more than anything, this video is to remind my future self to hold on to the idea of segmenting the year. I don't think many career jobs have such a split, so it's an interesting phenomenon to explore. But before I do, please make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. On this channel, I like to talk about the systems, frameworks and gadgets that I use to find focus and procrastinate less with ADHD. 1. The fresh start effect. I guess the first reason why dividing the year up into parts is helpful for ADHD is because of the fresh start effect. As humans, we tend to hold on to temporal landmarks, which are events that enable us to mentally separate what's happening in the now or might happen in the future with what's happened in the past. The fresh start effect makes it more likely for us to start a new goal or work towards an existing one, and this is what we tend to do at New Year's each year, for example, or maybe even on our birthdays as we lose one more year of life. By splitting the year into segments, I've seen a renewed sense of focus and drive in my own self. At the beginning of each term, I'm always on point and working on exactly the standard I want for the whole year. If I didn't have this new start 3 times a year, I'd definitely feel a different way about it. At the start of each term, I'm just hopeful that I'm working towards my university goals, and it's helped me realign the repetitions I'm putting in and habits I'm sticking with what my goals are for this year. The fresh start effect is a helpful mental reset that I've been able to use to manage my ADHD better. 2. Overcoming time blindness. Now, 12 months is a really long period of time for us to keep track of in the academic year. With ADHD, I can't quite put my finger on how much time I have left of the year, or for that matter, how much time has already passed. And this tends to sometimes make me overwhelmed by the sheer thought of time slipping through my fingertips. ADHD leads to challenges with accurately perceiving time, and this has the overall effect of making it difficult to plan and execute tasks well or keep track of progress across a protracted time point. Segmenting the year has been great for me to better manage my time agnosia. I can give you an example of how I've been directly applying this to one of the top 3 things I'm working on this year, my YouTube channel. I released a video about my New Year's resolution for 2023. You can check out the full video, but in short, my New Year's resolution was to post every single week this year. Since January 1st, almost a third of the year has passed, 15 weeks to be exact. And excluding a few changes in my posting schedule, I've largely been able to stick to this and post 15 videos since then. I'm pretty terrible at sticking to things of low intensity over a long period of time with ADHD, especially when there's very limited short-term gratification. But I promise myself I try to see how I get on. Definitely the number one thing that's enabled me to keep up with this schedule has been seeing the year as Hilary, Trinity and Michaelmas, seeing it as 3 separate parts. It's far easier for me to motivate myself that way, and as the Seinfeld strategy emphasizes, to never break the chain. I decided to add an entry on my calendar for each Monday of the year with the title of my next video. I also added in brackets the week in the semester that had passed, and I also added the overall rank number of the video. Because of this, I know exactly how many videos I've already posted at any point in the semester, and I know how many weeks I have left till term is over. By breaking the year year into segments, it's been far easier for me to keep track of my own progress and to motivate myself. And equally as important as this, it's been very helpful to allow me to plan for the next term. I'm not saying I'm going to stick to this routine of posting once a week always, but I can say the number one reason I've stuck with it so far, despite being incredibly busy with my PhD, has been because of the better grasp I'm getting with my time blindness by keeping a detailed track of each week, and also by using the fresh start effect each Sunday through to Monday. 3. A clean slate. The fresh start effect is generally understood to work by providing a psychological clean slate. It's the start of Trinity semester this week, and I feel so glad to have a fresh start, to renew my intentions and my goals, and to let go of worry. Splitting the year in segments has the great advantage of allowing us a fresh start, to let go of judgment and to reset our mental burden. Regardless of how I've done in my other 2 terms this year, I feel the beginning of this term has really brought with it a sense of hope. Last week I was judging myself about my progress, and this week I feel I have a fresh new attempt at working towards my academic goals this term. With ADHD, because we find it difficult to appreciate temporal landmarks, it's very easy to feel overwhelmed in the run-up to exams and deadlines. And I really feel the break at the end of each semester and the start of the semester provides a fresh, clean slate for us to reset and work towards our goals. When you're feeling in control, less anxious and overwhelmed, it's far easier to complete your best work and procrastinate less. Procrastination is a coping mechanism that protects us from stress by totally ignoring it. But you'll be no closer to your goals and will feel even more overwhelmed because of it. If you're happier and having a good time, it's far easier to manage your ADHD and focus for long periods of time. And that's what I found, and that's why I think clean slates are important throughout the year. This was just some random hopeful thoughts that I wanted to share with you this week. In the fast-paced nature of life that we're living in, it's very easy to forget where we're at any point in time. When I was working in the NHS as a doctor, the stress of the job was palpable, but what made it really manageable was just how transient it all was. I knew after each clinical rotation I'll have a new start. As time passes, our memory of past events tends to fade. By having fresh starts throughout the year, I'm finding I'm able to review my efforts and my habits and realign them with my overarching goals. It's also a great time to wipe the slate clean and to start again. That's why I really think we need to hold on to this phenomenon of dividing the year up. I really feel the benefits are many for us with ADHD. Anyway, this was just an observation that I had that I wanted to share with you all. Let me know what your thoughts are and if you found it helpful to think of each year this way. If you learned something new, like this video and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with more videos on the systems, frameworks and gadgets that I use to find focus and overcome procrastination with ADHD every single day at university. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.